Number 17 says cotangent of negative pi over 6. So negative pi over 6 is going to be a pi over 6 angle in quadrant 4. So negative pi over 6, we're going clockwise instead of counterclockwise. So to find the cotangent of negative pi over 6, I want to look at my tangent and I want to look at pi over 6. So tangent theta, by definition, is equal to y over x. That's based on a right triangle in quadrant 1 with theta as my angle, x as the bottom of the triangle, y as the height of the triangle. So x is the base, y is the height, r is the hypotenuse. So using x, y, and r, which is always what we're going to use, tangent theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, y over x. That means that cotangent theta is equal to x over y. So that would be useful in coterminal angles. You really need to use the y and the x when you're working with coterminal angles. I just want to remind you where that came from for tangent, and likewise with reciprocal for cotangent. But another thing I could do is I could look at, well, what is the tangent of just pi over 6? So tangent of pi over 6 is tangent of a 30-degree angle. That means the opposite side is across from that 30-degree angle, so the opposite side is going to be a 1. So it's 1 over root 3. That means the cotangent of pi over 6 is going to be equal to square root of 3 over 1, or just square root of 3. I have the cotangent of negative pi over 6. And so the x and the y are helpful there because I'm looking at positive versus negative. So instead of going through the all students take calculus to see what's positive and then try to come up with the reciprocals based on that, I can just look at x and y. Inside quadrant 4, x is positive because it's to the right of the graph, so all the x coordinates in that quadrant would be positive, and y is negative because it's underneath the x-axis. So all the y values in that quadrant would be negative. So if one is positive and one is negative, that means x over y is going to be a positive over a negative, which simplifies to a negative number. So cotangent, negative pi over 6, is equal to negative square root 3. Last thing I want to show you, just again, if you need to see it, 30, 60, 90 triangle, we need to know, well, the 1 is across from a 30-degree angle, the square root of 3 is across from the 60-degree angle, the 2 is across from the right angle. So tangent of 30 degrees is opposite over adjacent, 1 over root 3. Pi over 6 is the 30 degrees because you're taking 180 degrees, which is pi, and dividing by 6, which gives you the 30 degrees.